Hello everyone, I'm Colin Cadet. I haven't done any subscriber tips and tricks for some time, so today I've got a few of them lined up, so let's have a look. This tip is from Jim, and he suggests when you're working with rope, and if you're like me and you forget how to tie knots that don't come apart on you, and I usually end up just putting a couple of granny knots together, and those knots can come loose. And he suggests putting just a dab of CA glue on there. You don't need very much, just a sort of a drop on there. And what really helps as well, if you put some accelerator on there, that knot will never ever come loose. But what's nice about working with CA glue, because it's brittle, you can hammer that, bang that, bust that glue, and you can then actually take that knot apart. And it's amazing how quick and easy that is. Look at that, just like that. And it works on all sorts of different ropes, so that's a great idea. Thanks, Jim, for that idea. This tip is from Jan, and Jan suggests that if you ever get a sliver, one of the things that you can do to get that out, if you're having a hard time getting it out, is to put a little bit of baking soda on it, and it doesn't take very much. Just put a little bit on the wound, and then wrap that with a Band-Aid or some other wrap, and leave that overnight, and that works like a poultice. And what it does is it surrounds that sliver with like a fluid so that it's easier to get out, or sometimes it even will just slide out on its own. So that's a really good tip, Jan. I haven't had a chance to use this. I'm kind of more from the school of dig it out, and I've got a battery of tweezers and magnifiers, so I like to try and dig it out when I can, but sometimes I can't, and this is a really good solution for those that I can't get out easily. This tip is from Tommy, and Tommy's suggesting having a sponge in a little bowl of water, and you can leave it in there and use that as a device for cleaning off glue ups, squeeze out from glue ups. Now, you can buy sponges at the dollar store. They come in packages. They're very inexpensive. You can then cut them up to whatever size you need. I like to use lighter colors so that you can actually see sort of the dirt and things that might be on there that you need to clean or replace that with. And what you do is basically just run a bead, whenever you're doing a glue up. I'm just going to pretend that there's some squeeze out on there. And of course, the very first thing we do is to use a putty knife, but look, you can even use a little piece of arborite, clean that up, get as much glue off as you can before you even start. And now, I don't know if you can see it, but there's still a glue line on there. And now you can use the sponge, and you want to squeeze as much water out as you can. And now you can take that and wipe that along there. And you know what? I've been using this off and on for years and years, and this is just an excellent way of getting rid of that glue on there. And you can reuse that, clean it off, reuse it, and that works just great. So that's a really good reminder. Thanks, Tommy. That's a good system. This next tip is also from Jim in Colombia. And Jim suggests if you ever need a thumb screw, and this is what a thumb screw is, basically a bolt with a sort of a flattened top on it. And where I live, these are, I don't know why they're so hard to find, and they're expensive. But there is an alternative, and Jim suggests, look, you can take any one of these bolts and just cut the head of them off, whatever size and length you need. And now all you need to do is get yourself some electrical connectors, and in my case the red ones were the right size, so these are called Marettes where I live. I don't know what they're called where you live, but they come in a variety of sizes, and I just took the red one, and you can see that I just cut it down a little bit. And now what I can do with these pliers with the flattened teeth on it so I don't destroy the thread, I can just take that and wind that on there, even just thumb tight, and that'll get on there really tight. And now what I can do to harden that up is I can put a little bit of CA glue in there, and that will just stop that from coming loose. And of course I can spritz that as well, and that'll hold really well. Now look, that's not going to be permanent, but it will hold fairly well. I'm just going to spritz it. There it is. And that will hold fairly well for quite some time, and it will, what I like about this is now instead of when you're turning these, sometimes you have to do this, whereas when it's round like this, you can, it's, to me, in some cases, it's actually going to be a better solution than trying to use one of these. But look, in a pinch, there's a great way of making your own little thumb screws. And this tip comes from Elling. And Elling suggests if you're looking for a place to store your dust collector hoses, you can use old trash bin or garbage bin lids. And I get these at garage sales, and they're all the same style. They're just in different colors. And people sell them because the lids get run over by the garbage bin, or they get blown away, or who knows what. And they're not good for anything, so that's what they sell them cheaply. But they're perfect for storing hoses in. There's a 2.5 inch. I just have a chunk of 4 inch, but you know, you can put 4-inch hoses in there. They're easy to get at, easy to get in, easy to get out, and just a great way of storing hoses. That was a good idea, Elling. Thanks very much for that. This tip is from Ray, and what Ray has done has used a cleat, or what we used to call a French cleat, to make a device or a holder for all of his nuts and bolts, nails and things like that. And I've just done a mock-up here of what Ray's might look like, and this was pretty popular back in the day. So on the edge, you have this system of interlocking. So this is really easy. You just cut this at a 45-degree angle on your table saw, and now you can just take that and hang that. So you mount this, this is your wall, so you mount this to your wall, and this is now a little portable device that you can lift off, take over to your workstation, and now I just use some double-sided tape on here to put my jar on here. You could use whatever kind of devices you want. What I really like about this is it allows you to take your nuts and bolts and screws, whatever it is that you want, right over to your workplace and work directly from those rather than taking over, say, a handful at a time. So that's a really good idea, Ray, using a cleat in your workshop as a device to hold your containers of nuts and bolts and screws and nails. Well, that concludes my video for today. I want to thank everybody who sent in tips and tricks and ideas. I've still got many more to go through yet, so I'll get around to you as soon as I can. And in the meantime, if you've got more of them, I'm always happy to get more of them because there's many, many great ideas. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I invite you to do that so you don't miss out on all sorts of great ideas like these. I'm Colin Cadet for WoodWorkWeb. Thanks for watching.